Responding to comment, crystals are demonic. Turn back to Christ. Let's talk about Jesus. He's not a real person. Jesus Christ is a character that portrays a process that happens inside your body every 29 and a half days. So long story short, when the moon is transiting over your sun sign, your zodiac sun sign, it does that for 2.5 days as it transits over all the zodiacs every 29 and a half days. And when it is over your sun sign, there's a process that occurs. It's kind of like a system check. It starts from your pineal gland, which is seated right between your left and right hemisphere. It's floating in a lake of fluid, which is the top of your cerebral spinal fluid. So every breath you take literally is fueling your third eye, your pineal gland. So the process starts from there, and it drops down past your throat chakra, your heart chakra, and when it gets to the solar plexus, it forms into a seed. This has also been referred to as the manger. There's like that little indentation right between your ribs. That's a manger, and it's a cave, and that's where the seed is born. And it continues to flow down. Now, this is an oil. What's secreted is an oil called KRISTOS. KRISTOS. This is the Christ. So I refer to it as the Christ seed oil. So this Christ oil drops down past your chakras and parks itself in the sacral chakra. So each chakra is related to a set of emotions and a set of physical body parts. So, for example, the solar plexus chakra, where that seed was formed, is related to the digestive system, the stomach, the spleen, the liver, and it's also related to the emotion of personal power, confidence, and courage, self-esteem. So when that set of emotions or that chakra has stagnant emotions, it's not free-flowing, that's what we refer to as a blockage. And solar plexus is blocked by shame. If you feel any sort of shame, it is going to be very hard to get into your heart chakra. That kind of makes sense, because if you're ashamed of something, then it's hard to love yourself. See how I like automatically covered my heart. Side note, pay attention to your body language, because by me doing that, that really resonated with the fact that we cannot go into our heart if we have shame. My body just proved it, the actions, without me thinking about it. So paying attention to yourself is key during a spiritual awakening. You're going to notice a lot of changes. You're going to notice seeing things from a different point of view and allowing things to be instead of trying to change them. Okay, back to this. So after 2.5 days, it starts rising again. And when it's rising, it is like a little fish, which is called ichthys, and ichthys is Jesus. So the Christ is the oil that drops down, and Jesus is the fish that is swimming up, trying to go back up to heaven, which is in your brain. The Babylonians had a fish god, and they would wear a head of a fish to show reverence to that god, which happens to be very similar looking to what Catholics wear. The bishops, they look like fish heads, their hats. Here's a couple more examples and depictions of that fish on the top of your head. I mean, over here it looks like the fallen angels or the Anunnaki, the giants or titans, even they're wearing that. So those are scales. So on that famous image, that's not wings, they're scales. I'm gonna have to make a video on that. All right, so again, they all have fishy looking heads as hats representing Jesus Christ, making it all the way back up to your head, to your crown chakra. So that fish hat is a representation of someone's ascension, basically rising up once again from the dead and having everlasting life. And how do you do that? Well, here's our chakra system. And each one of them are linked to different emotions. So if, for example, you hold on to that shame, you cannot allow that Jesus fish to swim back up to the crown, and it cannot turn into that fuel. See, what happens is, if it does make it past all your chakras and gets back to your pineal gland, it converts that fluid, that cerebral spinal fluid, which is clear, it converts it into fuel for your brain, like an upgrade. It is a tenth of the oil. That's what it means to tithe. So when you are visiting your church, your temples, which is between your temples, you're tithing 10%, because that fluid is 10% converted into this other supercharged fuel, which is your level up, your ascension to that next level of being. You can get all this information from God Man, the Word Made Flesh. This is written by George Carey, and I have this linked on my link tree. It's a free PDF. And this explains how the Bible is a representation. It's 60 different versions of our physiology, our biological processes, our ascension. So Genesis is not just creation, it's also regenesis. So when you allow that fuel to reach your brain and it charges you up, not only do you go to that next level, that's what they refer to as everlasting life. You've turned your water into wine, your cerebral fluid into that fresh, rich blood, which, by the way, is connected to your spleen, which is where Jesus Christ supposedly was stabbed, because the spleen is the part of your body that converts nutrients into fresh, rich blood. Gut health is key. Gut health literally is key, because the gut is directly connected to your brain. So when you have a clogged gut, you have a foggy brain. I'm not going to go too much into parasites, but that is really important, because that is the cause of pretty much every disease. So we take care of our emotional body and we take care of our physical body as well. It's up to us what we put into our body. We must take responsibility of our vessel. I stopped drinking alcohol about 7 months ago, and that's probably one of the best things you could do for your physical body and this spiritual body that is necessary to be strong and vital for this process to work. You cannot ascend with alcohol in your system, nor can you ascend with acidity in your system. And don't forget the emotional body. So each chakra could also be blocked emotionally and not just physically. So yeah, I know a thing or two about Jesus Christ. I'm technically Jesus Christ. So are you. Did you know that's not even Jesus Christ? That's a picture of Caesar Borgia, a really bad dude. Now you also say that crystals are demonic. Well, let me check my handy dandy Book of Moses.